I want to commend Independent Ireland for bringing this motion to the Dáil and welcome the opportunity, as I've raised issues with regard to Tusla on numerous occasions, both here in the Dáil and in the Justice Committee. And I think it's clear that there are major problems. Children who need the care and the protection of the state deserve the highest standards from the state, yet that isn't always the case. We also need to do much better in supporting young people leaving the care of the state. 𝐵𝐸, too many children have gone missing, too many children have died. Last November, the journal .ie reported that children in Tusla-run homes were reported missing on nearly 7,000 occasions from January 2020 to September 2025. When vulnerable children go missing, they are at severe risk of being exploited or harmed. Unfortunately, there have been high-profile cases of children who have been harmed after they have gone missing. There are major issues in Tusla in relation to staff shortages, overstretched staff and high staff numbers. Too many vulnerable children have been left without a social worker. We saw this problem and we see it being particularly acute in certain regions. Orders for the care of children have not been complied with on all occasions, and senior management in Tusla who were aware of these issues failed to take appropriate action. There have been failures to inform the courts that children in care were not allocated a social worker. There have been multiple failures within the agency of all levels, and we have a department that washes its hands. There is a long-standing shortage of social workers, which is the result of government failures and a lack of planning. 𝐷𝐸 reviews have identified systemic governance issues, including inconsistent practice and delays in service delivery. There have been repeated findings of inadequate oversight and delayed assessments. There have been significant failures when it comes to communication with those whom Tusla interacts with. Tusla's job is to protect the most vulnerable children in the state, to look after their welfare, to respond to concerns and to provide care services, and therefore that organisation has to be held to the highest standards. But there are lots of questions, and we've heard lots of very concerning stories both in this debate and over a long period of time. And therefore, that's why concerns about Tusla and its capacity have been to the fore in our consideration of the International Protection Bill, which Government are currently rushing through the Oireachtas. During the pre-legislative scrutiny and the report of the committee on the IP Bill, there was a warning that Tusla lacked the staffing, the resources and the operational capacity to meet what are going to be expanded statutory duties in respect of unaccompanied minors. The bill is going to increase Tusla's workload at a time that we know that that organisation is under-resourced, overstretched and unable to meet its statutory duties for vulnerable children, including unaccompanied minors. During the committee stage of the bill a couple of weeks ago, I tabled a number of amendments in relation to ensuring that Tusla had the capacity, the resources and the staffing for the additional workload, as well as an amendment to end the use of unregulated special emergency arrangements. Minister, it wasn't your department. I'd welcome if you would, in your closing remarks, give an indication as to whether your department has inputted into this piece of legislation, because for all the failings that we've been speaking about, to add additional workload and additional responsibility on Tusla at this time is, in my view, dangerous. And there have been significant issues in terms of young children going missing from Tusla care, and the majority of those that have gone missing have actually been unaccompanied minors in the international protection system. More than 1,100 children in Tusla's care were placed in what are called unregulated special emergency arrangements, SEAs, with no 𝐷𝐸 oversight whatsoever, including the SEA facility where 𝐵ADAM Davydenko was tragically killed. Last month, in the Dublin District Court, Judge Conor Fottrell severely criticised profiteering by private operators providing this unregulated placements for the most vulnerable children. He described it as wrong and shameful, and he was absolutely right in that. But notably, it's not the first time that either Judge Fottrell or other judges have spoken out about the failures of Tusla. It's been reported that Tusla stopped using 8 private companies because they didn't meet the required standard, and it referred 5 private operators to the Garda National Vetting Bureau. We know that a large proportion of those that are housed in special emergency arrangements are separated children seeking international protection, and that's specifically why we raised these issues with Minister O'Callaghan during the debate on international protection, and his response was wholly unacceptable. And he's now rushing through legislation and he's ignoring the reality that state bodies, particularly Tusla, are at breaking point and are not equipped to cope with the additional workloads. These are issues that you have a responsibility to manage as well, Minister. One department is adding an agency under the control of your department with significant additional responsibilities. So you, I believe, have a responsibility to inform this House whether you're satisfied that Tusla and your department will be able to deal with the additional responsibilities that are coming your way.
Thank you for watching. Please like and share.